Just saying.
Oh, here we go. All right, I'm just running the octopus one. We'll do it at the start of that. Hello and welcome back to episode 41.
Take 2 of episode 41, I will say. Just pointing out, someone forgot to press record.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I just finished filming a reaction video on how bad of a YouTuber I am, and it just kind of solidifies that fact, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I'm sitting there, and so because the timer's going down from 30, and it got to about 20, and I'm thinking, press record, and then I'm going like this, thinking you can see me in the little window doing an R, and I'm thinking, well, maybe you'll see it. No.
Well, I don't know about you, Granny, but I normally dance when it's counting down. I get my little tentacles flapping around, and quite enjoy the countdown song. But we got there on the second chance, which is always a good thing because how many times have we recorded halfway through the episode and we realised we're not recording? I think we've done that a couple of times.
Yes, we can't. I guess we can't become too good at what we do.
Well, no. Well, like I said, this episode will come out on Tuesday, and everyone will see how bad I am in the YouTube space on the reaction video. But hopefully, no one unsubscribes. But if before we go too much further in the video, if you type in Aussie Flipper on on YouTube, you might see a handsome octopus halfway through the front. So check that video out if you know. And our beloved Grumpy Granny has also did a reaction video to my reaction video. So I'll her link in below, so she gives her 2 cents on it as well. It's quite disappointing that I have to tell people how to human sometimes, Granny, but like I said, it is what it is, right? Like I said, it wasn't a takedown video or anything along the lines of that. I just think there's a lot of external pressures out in the market at the moment, which kind of may have presented themselves for that kind of behavior, which we're going to talk a little bit about today as well. Just what to do in an environment like this. Our sales are down. Grumpy Granny and I were talking before we pushed the record button.
Exactly. Things have changed. Things have changed recently, and we all have to accept that. And I think everyone's feeling the bite of the fact that, sales are down. I don't know too many people whose sales are going like that, regardless of what platform they're selling on. And I think now's the time we can't rely on a single platform or a single niche. Because if that niche is not selling, creek without a paddle.
And I've seen a few people in the Facebook marketplace. Oh, sorry, Facebook. Oh, we always say Facebook marketplace. Facebook groups that say, "Oh, look, my sales are off the chart. I've never had better sales and stuff like this." And I'm getting to the point now. I'm a bit suspicious of people like saying that. Is it a case of is it a mind games or is it gaslighting in the sense of saying, "Hey, look, if I tell people my sales are fantastic, they're going to be looking like they're a failure and they might leave the reselling space, therefore, potentially getting rid of a couple of competitors." So, like I've said numerous times, just be very mindful of your mental health. There are some links down in the description box below if you are struggling from a mental health perspective. Just click on those. But give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to tell the kids to be quiet. Damn kids.
Yeah, and I think it's important to reach out, even if it's to talk to someone, if you don't want to click on those sort of links, but just to reach out to someone and talk, or come into a Discord group where you can actually talk and have a physical connection. I guess it's not a physical connection, but a face-to-face connection. Even for us, it's like we're talking to each other here,
well, that's right.
Even though we're in different parts of the country, but it is that social interaction, and you're actually making a connection with another human being.
I represent that comment.
Or a cephalopod, or something.
Sexy cephalopod.
Kraken.
Yes. Yeah, crack-a-lackin'. Yeah, that's right. But, and that's exactly right. It is quite stressful. And I have noticed a lot of YouTubers that are quite staunch previously on their niches per se, and they've moved out to different things. So, like I said, that I know that some people in the market might say, "Hey, look, that person said that they're only going to sell, books or something along the lines of this, or they're going to sell Skylanders or something along the lines of this." Who cares what they sell? If it really comes down to the survival of their business or their livelihood of
sell what you can that is selling.
Keep them off the streets. I really I had one of the comments in my comment section with Matt the Aussie Flipper because they said he swore off clothes 6 months ago, and it's like, who cares? If he wants to sell jeans and that's what he needs to to run his business, so be it. Like,
Well,
I really, really have no interest there.
that
Oh,
being said, I did see someone else selling something going into clothing today. John the Reseller's another one. Like, he's always done his toys and stuff, and not been in any of the clothing game. And he had a short up saying what I've learned about reselling clothes in 3 weeks.
yes. What I've learned about selling clothes is they take forever to sell. Oh, I hate clothes.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, he was photographing the clothes and putting them in a tub. He didn't talk about any that had sold. He just said that's what he was doing. So
Yeah.
here's another one that's, obviously moving outside his niche. And I know there are other people. I mean, I've broadened my niches back out. I'm broadening them out again to stuff that I was previously selling that I know that sells. A couple of areas I'm not going to tell anyone about because I don't want everyone else selling them.
You keep your Skylanders to yourself.
Yes, exactly. I'll keep my Skylanders and my B2, B1 and
Yes,
B2.
I've never seen a B2 in the thrift store before, and yesterday I found 6 of them in
Really?
various states of undress. So one was completely clothed, and the rest were one was even wearing just these little shoes. So
Oh, poor banana.
that was in the thrift store that I was stuck behind the mannequin for a couple of minutes because I didn't realize it was a fake person. So yeah, no, it was a bit of a shock. I was waiting, like, there was 2 people in the DVD section, and one cleared out, and I was waiting for the other person to clear out. It was a mannequin, so I was waiting for a couple of minutes. So yeah, that's pretty much what's been happening for me. But I suppose what's been new on your side of the on the road, Granny? Like, what have you been up to lately?
Well, I have verged, spread my wings a little bit into another new selling platform. So I'm actually selling some vintage books let's say I have listed some vintage books for sale on Etsy. I've only been, I think I'm not to about day 8. So yeah, I would expect probably 2 to 3 weeks before I'll start getting some sales. I think I've got about 55 books over there now. Etsy is one of those, it's a platform sort of for arts and craft type handmade products, but it's also very heavily weighted in vintage. And so you can do vintage books are a big thing over there. And someone suggested it to me and I went and had a look at it. It's fairly easy. I guess the one thing that enticed me to give it a go is that I can use crossless magic, which I use for putting my clothes on Depop. I can actually use that to crossless books I've got on eBay straight over to Etsy, and it takes away a lot of the work. So yeah,
no, it's good because I know Sarah I think she's under Savvy Collector. Sarah, she normally does a lot of Etsy stuff, and she's quite versed over there. But I tell you, I'm extremely jealous of Diary of a Flipper and Bianca Gathered House, where they've actually got the Bendigo or the Ballarat markets, where they can actually have a little stall and have their little their wares in there. So I would love an opportunity like that in Canberra. I'm pretty sure they exist, but probably just for certain niches that I don't sell in. But yeah, like something would be fantastic along the lines of that. Just have like a little stall set up where you just set and forget kind of thing. There's a lot of things I'd move out there myself, but
there's a few locals here. I've talked about it with a couple of other locals here. I mean, there's nothing here in this small country town per se, but I think it could be an opportunity if we could get onto the local shire to actually give us a building that we could put something in. You could set it up, and as long as you were willing to donate a bit of time to run it, like to man it, and if everyone that had stock in there did that, it could run fairly cheaply, and you could have your little thing, and then I could have somewhere that I could go and still buy all the things that break that I don't like to sell online and post. But that'd be a great place to put that sort of stuff too.
Well, that's exactly right. And then, I suppose Donald's a little bit outside the realm of what I'm going to say, but it might even be worth, if you did have a community collective, just hiring someone, that either on a casual or a contractor basis, because I could see it turning into an absolute nightmare because, Betty Sue from the nursing home won't be released on time or she's not feeling well that day. And, then you closed and, people start getting turned away from all these different things. So definitely, if there are, I suppose that built big enough.
Bigger places, I think you're quite
big
right.
enough. So it'd be quite curious to see how it all plays out. But definitely want to stumble across something like that in Canberra or even further afield. Like for those that aren't really well versed in Canberra is kind of like a country capital city, and there's a lot of outlying, country hubs outside of
Yeah.
Canberra, probably within the 30-minute drive, which would support something very similar to like Ballarat, right? Would support that kind of that markety vibe, I suppose, for lack of a better term. So
well,
I don't know. I might do some.
Yeah, somewhere like that probably too, because you've got the people that are, government workers and things, because there are a lot of them in the capital of Australia. They're looking to go on their day trips on their weekends, to have somewhere they could go, that 30-minute drive out of town to a small country town if there was something worthwhile to go to. And that could be something they might go to.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. I think Ballarat's a little bit of too much of a drive for me, so I probably won't be going down there and filling up a cabinet and going down every fortnight to refill it. But yeah,
I could do it. It's only a couple of hours drive for me.
That's right. It's a lot closer to you. I went to visit Judder a couple of years ago. It was only like a 6-hour trip, like 8 hours later, I'm still driving. But it's definitely nice that way. But I suppose that, especially in these current climates, we've spoken about before, is that your Facebook Marketplace, your Depop, your eBay, and all these different things you want to be selling on. Etsy was something that I've never sold on personally, so I can't really comment, just to see if that is worthwhile. I know, like I said, Sarah and Bianca are selling it quite regularly, so it must be some kind of action going over there as well. So I kind of think to myself, and going back to what I was saying a bit earlier about Matt, is that do what you need to do to survive. Like I said before, is there's no shame in going back to work full time, or there's no shame in opening up a platform, or selling things that you never sold before. But it really comes down to know what you're selling. Like, just don't go into a thrift store and just start grabbing an armful of clothes and and I've seen it numerous times before. So,
because if you are going to if you are going to sort of extend yourself and go into it, and use, if you're not a clothes seller, and clothes are going to sell because people always need clothes. Like, let's face it. But if you are going to go into something like clothing is not just clothing. You can't just go and pick up a heap of stuff and think, oh yeah, that was cheap. But there are certain brands that do sell, certain brands that don't sell. There are high-end brands that sell, but like even the women's clothing, for example, like there's a brand called Caroline Morgan. Now, it's certainly not a high-end brand. It's a mid-range, brand that you'd find, in the Donald Boutique here sells it. The clothing shop here sells it. So, it's a good mid-range sort of thing. They do a variety of sizes, but it's a very boho sort of eclectic vibe, their clothing. And I sell it all the time. Like, it's not great for a $30 profit, but hey, it's pretty good for a quick $10 profit every time.
Well, that's exactly right. And I think people need to move away from this, like going back to the daily refinement days, right? Like, the 20 items at $20 profit and all these different things. Like, we're no longer working that in an economy, right? Like, don't by all means. And what we were talking about before is like variation listings, like, variation listings for Ghostbusters or babysitter clubs and all these different things. If you can get them, source them enough for like cheap enough, like you were saying in your video the other day that you pick them up for 50 cents or something along the lines of that, pick them up for 50 cents or $1, put them in a variation listing. Then, it's kind of like set and forget. If you don't know how to do variation listings, I'm pretty sure the Grumpy Granny has done a video on it. Is that correct, Leanne?
It is, yes.
So if you send me a link after the show, I'll put it in the description as well. But I use them for Skylanders, right? I've been getting better. Like, it's only taken me 9 months, but I'm getting better.
Okay.
But like Skylanders, right? So if it's replenishable stock, you just go back in there and change it from 0 to 1. Like Skylanders, Goosebump books, they're everywhere. So the likelihood of you coming across another Goosebump book, it's quite high. So just do a variation listing, put it in there. Like Grumpy Granny was saying, is that you're probably not going to make $30, $40 profit on a book. But if you make $2 or $3, $4 on a variation listing, it's easy. You just put it in a padded mailer and off it goes. A couple of stamps on it. That's how I send my Goosebumps books off.
And look, depending how you set your variation up, like I've got mine set up, but then I have an added thing where I use an order discount on it too. So all my variation listings go into that, which is buy 2 books, get 1 free. So you get to put 3 in your cart, and the lowest priced one you get for free. That works brilliantly, because then you're not just selling the one. Look, I had Dogman books, right? Thought I was never going to sell them. I looked at what they were comping for, and I went, $5, they're no good. And they're hardcovers. They're nicely, they're nice colour. They look great, but you think they're going to sell for a decent amount of money. And I couldn't ever get like enough of a set to do a full set, and even then it wasn't worth doing. Put them up in the variation listing, and I think I've got 2 left.
Yeah, but that's all it is. Like,
Mm.
your books like your Diary of a Wimpy Kid and your
Yes,
Treehouse books and all these different things, like they are so oversaturated. It's not
Captain
funny. Like,
Underpants.
if you get them for like, with thrift shop that that I normally go to is like, I think it's 4 books a dollar for kids books and stuff
Mm.
along the lines of that. If you've got a variation listing, put it in there. Yeah, you basically they'll tick away. Especially like you're saying is that buy 2 get 1 free, because people are paying, if they're paying $8 postage, they're probably going to want to maximize that, or $10 postage, whatever it is. To maximize that.
Yeah, and even ones like, so one of the ones that has done quite well for me was the Kerry Greenwood, who writes the Miss Fisher murder mystery books. So I did one with those books rather than put them up as a bundle or singly. And I've had a couple of sales on that, so there's not very many of those left either. And hopefully then, I'll be able to pick some more of those up at some point and replenish them back in.
Yeah, and like we were talking about before, is that I wouldn't do variation listings for things that are one-off. Like, if you if you come across, what was that author that I picked up? I can't remember. What was his name?
Asimov.
Asimov. That's where you go.
Yeah.
Like, I picked up 6 of those books, right? So I wouldn't I wouldn't do a variation listing for that, because the likelihood of me coming across those books, this is the first time I've
they are
done
hard
it
to
in 15
find,
years. 15 years. So I would just sell them as a bundle. But strongly suggest your Treehouse books, your Goosebump books, like your Captain Underpants, what was the dog book called?
Dogman.
Dogman, even
Ando.
Ando. There's a lot of Ando ones.
That's another one. Yeah, I've got one for that.
A lot of Minecraft and a lot of Roblox.
And even with the older ones, like your Agatha Christie, your James Bond, even the paperback ones of those, I've created one for those. I've got another one for Tolkien. Even ones like, so the Penguin do a series of what they call Penguin Classics, paperback classics. They'd be good in a variation listing. Then you've got your Wordsworth Classics. You've got there's another company called Classic Tales, I think, and they all do like your classic fiction, or there might be kids' books, or some of them are the Wordsworth ones, adult ones, but with the Classic Tales, for example, you've got Tom Sawyer, The Secret Garden, all those sorts of things. So you could actually do that Classic Tales as a variation and put all your ones in. You'll see them time and time again, and you'll be able to pick them up, for 20 cents or 50 cents and keep adding to it.
Yeah, and for those that, we do have a lot of that's been better resellers than me. We're probably even better YouTubers, and they haven't even done a YouTube video yet. But the way the variation listings work is that, for example, with Skylanders, right? I might call the listing title Skylanders Swap Force, for example. But with a variation listing, you list the characters one name. You might have like, Blast Zone and Punk Shock and all these different things in the variation listing themselves. So if Grumpy Granny is looking for a particular Skylander, she might type in Skylander Punk Shock, which is this Skylander here. That's why I just went down and reached to get him. Yep. So if you're after looking for this one here, even though the variation listing is called Skylander Swap Force, the eBay algorithm will pick that up and show you that variation listing. So you've actually got you've almost got the bonus of having extra title characters, because you've got the name of the books inside that variation listing. So the thing where it will trip up, though, is that if that particular Skylander Punk Shot, for example, has already sold out, so it's no longer available, it will still show that listing up in that variation listing. So you still got the off chance of that someone coming through looking for that particular Skylander, or that a particular book from the Goosebumps series, and they're like, oh, okay, that Punk Shock sold out. However, he's got this one, and they'll start adding them to the cart. So you're not losing out on that sale more often than not. So definitely looking at doing variation listings, especially when you get stuff cheap.
Oh, so I was going to say the other thing that's really good too, because you have a sales history with the variation listings.
Yes.
Because the listing stays live, you can see how many you've had this one in stock, you've restocked it, you had 2 sales for that book, and that will show up when the buyer goes in to say, two have sold, or 4 have sold, or
Well, that's right, and that's a perfect example for the Skylanders, right? And this is how you get competitive in the Skylander niche: is that you need that sales history. Like doing single Skylanders, and if you're not selling Skylanders en masse, please don't do a variation listing, because they need traffic. I think that, like, if they don't get replenished occasionally, that they do die off. I do find, but if you've got that sales history, you'll rank higher. So like, it doesn't mean that you've sold that character 460 times. You may have just sold items from that one listing, 460 signs or whatever it is from that. So it'll actually come up with a little red writing next to it saying, 460 items sold or something along that. So it gives, and it kind of, it helps in the algorithm, and it also helps from a buyer's confidence perspective. Saying, oh, geez, they've sold a lot of that. They must be decent. So.
And one of the things I think to be mindful of that I'm going to say is because with the images that you use, and I'm going to say this particularly in for books, I find, and look, it's probably is important in even with Skylanders, because some may have different damage or whatever. If they're all exactly the same, it wouldn't matter. But with books, it's very easy, because I actually add an image, a front and back image of every book individually, which is easy enough to do in the variation listing. For each one, and it's very easy to change the photos for that particular thing if you then restock with a different one, and maybe there's something slightly different about it, or in the case of a book, maybe it's got a little bit of a bit more wear on the spine or something. And I think it's still important for the customer to see what they're getting.
Well, that's right. I'm just going to bring up my Skylander listing now, just to give you a bit of you will enjoy it, everyone sitting at home. So this is how I've set up my Skylanders listing, right? Hopefully you can see it, Granny. I just use a generic photo for the background. So this is not my photo. I haven't taken these pictures. So that one on the top right, that's Scratch. If you do find it in a bulk lot, that's the one you're looking for. It's about a $30 Skylander. It was only released in Australia, to my knowledge. So everyone in the UK, Canada, and the US wants it. So as soon as you put it up, it will sell straight away.
Okay.
So that one there. Oh, you can't really see it from there. But this is what I do. Like what I was talking about earlier, so it says 6 available, 137 sold. I have no idea what that 6 available is, because I've got millions and millions and millions of them. But like I was saying, if you click down on it and all those different things, you can add it to cart, add it to cart, add it to cart, and all those different things. So, and like Grumpy Granny was saying, I'll normally do 2 shots, like one at the front, one at the back, and one at the bottom as well, just to let people know what the element is, and also what color the base is as well. And like I said, there's punk shot and all those different things. But like realistically,
you can price each one at a different price to the others. It's not like you have to have every single variation in that one listing the same price. You can price them individually. You can give them different SKU numbers, so you don't have to worry about that as well. It's love it.
Yeah, and that's right. Like that variation listing, I think it starts at $4.99, which is a couple of the Skylanders you see there. And like I said before, 99.9% of the Skylanders you see are trash, right? But if you come across 200 Skylanders in a bulk lot on Facebook Marketplace for $50, pick them up, put them in a variation listing. They'll sell, because even if you're making $5 per Skylander, is that what I find a lot of people in the Skylander space is, and I shouldn't say this because it's a bit of a trade secret, is that a lot of people do it like a Skylander for $10 plus $10 postage, or $20 for free postage. But where I'm selling that Skylander for $4.99, my Skylander sales are normally $70 or $80, because people will go through there and go, all right, it's capped at $10 postage or $12 postage. I'll add 15 Skylanders. The amount of times I have to pull out bloody 15 Skylanders, it curses it. But it's more cost effective to them from buying 15 at me for the same price of buying 3 with free postage. So more often than not, 99% of the times I'll win in that transaction.
100%. So. And I'm doing the same with my books. So I have a $9.99 is the price for postage on my books. Doesn't matter how many books you buy, whether you buy 3 books, 6 books, 12 books, still $9.99. If I have to put it in a bigger parcel, I'll wear that extra cost, because I'm making the money up in the sales.
That's right.
But it's an incentive for the people to actually go through and actually buy more. So in the end, you win, because 9 times out of 10 they'll buy more. It means more money in your pocket.
Well, that's right. And I'm even in shocks. I won't go through my sales history now, but like the amount of people that just buy one Skylander and pay $10 postage. So you buy a $5 Skylander and pay $10 postage. And I'm like, but because I think that the more you buy, it gets up to about 25% off. So you're almost getting to the point, you're buying 3, you get 1 free, or whatever, whatever the math is. Graham, if you're out there, tell me what the math is. I'm not too comfortable with it. But that's something, like I was saying, is that definitely you need to look at upping the way you run your eBay store, especially in times like this, is that where the tap's almost been turned off, even from my perspective. And we're talking a little bit before this. I haven't had any sales today on the Octopus account, which is quite uncharacteristic. I normally float around, like recently, about $500 again, which has been pushing up, which is good. But I know that they had a lot of eBay issues in the last 24 hours. A lot of things in the Facebook groups where
Yeah.
people are having their transactions cancelled. I'm sick of people asking the same question. Like read everyone else's thing.
Oh yeah, look, I was having terrible trouble yesterday with the platform, like trying to do some end and sell similar and some edit. Like I was trying to edit some particular listings, and yeah, it was yeah. Luckily, I was keeping an eye on it because otherwise I would have lost listings, and I would have been
So I've
in all sorts of
actually
trouble.
and we haven't got Blake here to have a go at me about this, but I've been actually doing like an end sell similar lot just for like a certain theme every day as well. Like for yesterday, I did the Nintendo games, and today I think I did T-shirts or jeans or something along that, just to refresh a certain category. Not like a full nuclear reset. I mean, I'm finding that that the offers are coming through a lot more. That people are looking at engaging from that perspective. So I've been sending out a lot more offers just to try and work out from that perspective.
And it's good to keep refreshing. I'm still selling. Like I think I said in my thing, my last what sold video. Like I sold something that was, I think there was a pair of jeans I had that were number 55. Like I've had them for quite some time because I'm up to 500 and something in my jeans now. So I've had them for a long time, but they were I did an end and sell similar not long ago, and someone's bought them. So it just refreshes it all.
And I think with the jeans as well is that, what I found is that what I previously did was I just bought, so as soon as I seen Levi's on it and they didn't have any holes on it, I'd grab them. But you need to be mindful of that certain sizes sell and certain types. Like I'm not au fait with the types of jeans, right? With the 501.
Not all Levi's or jeans are equal.
Well, that's right. Well, like I said, I see the Levi's if they're, I'm normally picking up for $7 a pair, right? So I'm quite happy to do that gamble because I could always sell them for $25 or $20 post. But like I was saying, is that just be mindful is that, don't buy big boy jeans like size 44, 30 length, which I have done in the past. But I'm not going to go into the details of telling you what it is because I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs, and B, I think it's to the point where it's more beneficial, especially if you are looking into getting other niches, just to learn the specifics, because you don't really want to be force fed through YouTube. Because I think that that's where a lot of people get into travel, myself included. Like I'll watch a YouTuber and go, "Oh, that sounds fantastic," and I'll go buy it, and now I'm stuck with it kind of thing. So, like I said, it's
And look, one of the things I think that one big thing I've noticed is, particularly because I'm selling more winter clothing at the moment. So like it's been 12 months since a lot of the winter clothing is sold. What I'm actually finding is a lot of the stuff, like I'm selling that I could have sold for maybe $30 to $40 last year, I'm now selling it for $20 to $30.
That's right.
Because if I leave it priced at that 30 to 40, it's not going to sell. People don't have the money to spend on at that price. So you have to be mindful of what you're paying for the clothing, in particular, and B, what you're going to actually price it at, because it's great to have there's some really good vintage brands. For example, Perry Cutton is a women's clothing designer that did great stuff in the 80s. I used to wear a lot of it myself. And I often pick her stuff up. And inevitably, if I had something of hers last year, I could have sold it $35 to $40.
Yeah.
Now I'm selling a pure new wool vintage jumper for $29. So it's definitely the prices have come down. We have to accept that and change the way we do business to accommodate that.
And what I will suggest as well is that if people are telling, especially YouTubers, take it with a grain of salt. Like, it's always got a YouTuber tax on certain things, because, like people might say, oh, I picked up these 20 sets of clothes and this is going to sell for, $600, $700, $800 or something like that. It's going to have to be special clothes to sell that high. That, like Granny was saying, like, and when I went through,
listen to us, of course.
That's right.
That doesn't mean us.
I would take that with a grain of salt as well. But with the jeans, though, like I said, I was selling Levi's at a certain price point, and I was selling, a lot of, really high. Well, they were in high demand female jeans. What were they called? LA, something like this. They're kind of a female jeans. They're kind of like country and western, pure western.
Oh yeah, pure western. Yes, they'll sell well. But again, you're not going to get the money that people were getting for them time last year.
Last winter, I was selling them for $45, and they were going, as soon as I listed them, they were gone. This particular pair, I've dropped down from $35 down to $29.99 plus post, and they're still sitting there. Yeah. So when you are doing sell similar, especially with clothes, because clothes is really subjective, right? There's no real hard and fast market for stuff because everything's different sizes go for different prices and all those different things.
Yeah, although
mark it down.
I have found it quite interesting though. There's a new thing now called granny or grandy core, like grandpa core. So it's a new trend where people are wanting to wear those older fashioned stuff. And I've actually sold a couple of things like that recently. So,
yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, is that I suppose we want to kind of we're a bit everywhere today regarding what we're talking about. But yeah, what else is new?
Well, I guess our aim today is just to, in general, like talk about how things have changed, and don't become a hater of eBay, because we do love eBay. eBay's been great. Right. It's been great.
That's right. Yeah. So by all means, eBay. If you need some some people to come up to you next year for your retail fest,
we're it. Bring up.
We're very photogenic. We're very photogenic. We can do these different things. I can smile. Look, my thing on. There we go. But what it comes down to is that I find a lot of people hating on eBay. A lot of people do different things, but I've said it time and time again, is that you really need to use eBay as a launching platform. Yeah, and this is why I really respect tech and sports, right? Like, I don't agree with 100% what he says, but I'm nowhere near the amount of sales that guy does, so I'm not going to have a swipe at him.
Yeah, no.
But realistically, I think that you need to do similar structure to what he did. Sell on eBay, build a base up, build a comfortable nest egg, then start investing in other ventures and all these different things. And what I want to talk about a little bit today as well, Granny, is that I'm in the process of building a brand new business. We did talk about it a little bit before, and I have put something on Instagram about it. But what I'm going to do is kind of create a YouTube series where I actually walk through everything. So walk through for Australians, like how to do, set up an ABN, which is an Australian business number, how to set up a My Post account. I'll reach out to Ethan Rushock, so basically see if I can hire him either pro bono or charge
some donuts, pay him some donuts,
or some donuts, or reach him out, charge him for an hour of his time, just have an episode. Questions you should ask an accountant before setting up a business, and all these different things, just to get a mindset, like, I suppose for lack of a better term, a complete dummies guide to setting up a business, right? Shopify, payment processes, and all these different things that go into these different things. So what I am going to do, I'm still like nuts and bolts on the thing. Like, I was thinking maybe stickers, like maybe like throwaway disgruntled octopus, fanfare stickers or something along the lines of this. But what I would do is a bit of community engagement, in the sense that I put it on like an Instagram poll or a YouTube community poll, saying these two designs, which one do you want, and make it more accessible. Like, I don't want to go down the path of t-shirts and printed t-shirts, because we just spent 30 minutes talking about how people are tightening their purse strings and all these different things. I don't want to be trying to charge $50 for a t-shirt for like a YouTube series where I could do a sticker for 5 or 10 dollars. So
hey, and maybe you could do things like lint rollers and stuff that people in the reselling community could use. I mean, that's probably not a great example, but you know what I mean. Like things that we as resellers could use that are associated with the disgruntled octopus in some way. Maybe that's right. Orange ones or something,
Yeah, that's right. Well, like I said, I want to try and make it so that it's community involved. So in the sense that, that they kind of shape the product that they're doing, because it'll be ultimately aimed at them. Another thing is that continuing with YouTube. So YouTube will be, basically pushing that out there, doing Google ads and all these different things. Like I said, building a brand from that perspective. And the purpose of this is not to sell you a $10 sticker, right? The purpose of this is to basically move you off YouTube, eBay. So basically, start funneling those funds into something you can do yourself. Do I think this business venture is going to be successful? No, I don't. Is it going to provide me a wealth of knowledge of what to do better next time? Yes, it will. Like I said, so these are the things that you need to do. And realistically, like I said, I'm probably not going to start this week. I'm just going to do a little bit of product research before we get to that, and I'll reach out. So I'll probably start next week, which I have no idea what it is in the grand scheme of things of dates. But we'll say the start of May. So what will happen is that. Yeah, so what will happen?
I was going to say too, because I mean, I'll be also doing some stuff on selling on Etsy on my channel, but again, it'll be a couple of weeks because I've only just started doing it, and I need to get a little bit more comfortable with it and learn a bit more, and maybe at least make one sale before I actually release the videos. But that again will be a how-to. So it gives you the opportunity, I guess, to think about other areas. And as much as we do love eBay, because look, there's only one platform, especially here in Australia, where you can buy anything just about, so it doesn't matter whether it's secondhand, whether it's new, whether it's jewelry, whether it's, I don't know, a scanner to scan your book codes, or whether it's books, whether it's jeans, there's no other platform that allows you to sell all those things. And I guess that's the thing for me, why I love eBay so much, because I can list everything on eBay and then I can spread the tentacles out to other platforms to give myself an extra chance of selling in other places.
Yeah, and like I was listening to Tex Slater's podcast this morning when I was mowing the seaweed grass at the back, and he makes a good point. Like, if you start from, very similar, like I think he said he started from a mobile phone for $60 radio or something like that. You keep flipping it, but he classes it as eBay's money. So he's not spending his own money; he's spending eBay's money. But have eBay fund your business adventures. Have eBay like do all these different things. And this is what I was saying in the reaction video that I just released a couple of days ago. In the future, look at that. Jeez, my brains are skewed.
Time travel.
Oh, I know, that's right. That's exactly right. But the thing is, though, that if you are looking at building a business, definitely get into some sort of social media aspect, either TikTok or YouTube Shorts or all these different things. Build a presence from that perspective. And I did raise that, and Grumpy Granny has seen the video, and it's as bad as she can imagine. But
please watch it, because, like, if nothing else, it will give you a good laugh. Let me tell you, I'm mortified. I am mortified, but it'll give you a good laugh.
It's just like I said in the video, right? Is that I think I'm up to about 150 videos on the channel now, and I haven't gotten any better since I first started. But you will start off bad, right? Like, go back to your favorite YouTuber like Yossi Flipper, Mel, or Torsey Thrifters. Go back to their very first video and just see how they compare to what they are now.
Like, I think I've got over 300 videos, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Let me have a look. I'll just have a look and see how many I do have. I mean, I do have a lot, I will say. Does it tell me how many I've got?
Yeah, it should say on your page. Your page on the on YouTube. But realistically, like I'm saying, is you need to start somewhere. No one's going to make fun of you for
like
how bad it is.
352 videos. I'm still bad, but I'm certainly not as bad as what I was when I started.
Well, that's right. Well, you weren't as bad as what I was when I first started. The Figsy video. Oh God. But the fact of the matter is that I think with TikTok,
the first time you interviewed me.
Oh, no, I watched that. Well, that's in the video as well. So, by all means, slither across there and watch that. But yeah, like I was saying, is that traditionally your first videos won't get any views, so no one's going to laugh at you because. And I did say in the video that Leanne and I are probably a little bit of an exception to that rule because we did build a brand for ourselves before we actually did the video. Like, we were, bickering and carrying on in people's group chat or in people's lives and all these different things. So we did build a bit of a rapport and a bit of build of a customer base or a consumer base from that perspective. So we're a bit of an outlier in the respect of videos. So we did work quite well. But if you are looking at doing, I suppose, YouTube, just to re-amplify the comments that I made in the reaction video, is that do start a couple of months before you plan on doing YouTube. Like, make yourself known to the community. Duck into people's lives. It doesn't have to be in Australia. If you want to duck into people overseas and all those different things, build some relationships, build some rapport, and go from that way. So when you do release your video, you've got some people to actually watch it.
You'd be surprised because, even which Rob and I now do because you guys ditched me, Thursday morning lives. The amount of people we get from the US that come into that live is amazing. It's at the right time for them because it's the right time for them, and it's good. And because I've been over and been in theirs, and so they'll come back over to mine, and it works really well. And it's just that personality of having that name and that brand out there.
That's right.
And look, you're not always going to find, don't expect to start doing it and suddenly find someone that you gel with enough that let's start doing a podcast. It's rare, I think, that you're going to get those personalities that gel that well. And we've seen it before with podcasts that were working well that stopped. And then one of them takes on a new partner and starts again, and it may not go as well, Yeah,
well, that's right. And something that
someone else that treats me with as much just contempt as you have in
Rob. That's right. That's
so
exactly.
It does work, but,
I was about to say we both have audio visual issues as well. So,
exactly.
But one thing I did forget on the reaction video is that don't bog yourself down with I suppose there's no easy way of saying it. Don't bog yourself down with flipper names or thrifter or as much as like I'm probably going to hopefully no one's watching it 39 minutes in the episode, but I think people are more successful back from burnout, right? So she could really Mel could really apply her craft across a great big span of YouTube channels, right? So she could repurpose her YouTube channel and move into something else, right? Where, as much as I love Brad and Jazz being two Aussie thrifters, how would that go if they were making a video about, Skylanders, where they're playing Skylanders or playing something along the lines of this? So, that's why I suppose for me personally, I named the channel The Disgruntled Octopus, opposed to the Octo Flipper or the Flipping Octopus, all these different things that we're potentially looking at the start. And like Grumpy Granny as well, she can branch into a lot more things. So, and I know we spoke about Blake. Granny and I spoke to Blake before he changed his channel to Blake Gorfine. We weren't the catalyst for him changing his channel. It just came up in conversation. We did say, hey, well, look, you would probably be better suited to brand yourself as the name. Go from there and all these different things. Because that if I, and this is going to sound very egotistical, is that if I walk in, if I slither into a live chat in America, I've got a recognizable brand, right? The octopus is here, or the Disgruntled Octopus. How you going, mate? And and if you don't believe me, if you find me in a chat, watch me. People will bring it up straight away, kind of thing. 9 times out of 10. But if you're
Granny, GG, everyone calls me GG.
Well, right. This is what it comes down
funny
to.
Story. I do want to say, funny story. I was babysitting my 5-year-old grandson last Monday. And we were talking about my friend, the Disgruntled Octopus, the orange, and Percy was telling me how he has got a really good friend who is this crazy kraken, and he says he's 1,000 foot tall. Then he turned around, and looked at me very seriously, and he said, "Nanny, do you have any human friends?"
I wonder if he thinks I'm imaginary, like a lot of people do.
I don't know, because I show him pictures of you and video of you, so he knows you exist and what you look like, because that's what he wanted to see, a picture. I'm not sure, but he thinks that you must be my only friend. I don't have any human friends.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, you got Rob. I don't know if he's passed as human, but we're close enough. But what it comes down to is actually building a brand for yourself, and I think that. If you work full time and you've got a family, it's a lot more difficult. But if you are looking at expanding into it, especially from the full time reselling perspective, especially in these climates that, like I don't know about you, Granny, but I haven't been paid out by YouTube yet, so I'm not going to say that.
I've had a couple of payments, but it's been a build up of a few months to.
So I keep up and one thing I did forget to mention in the reaction video as well is that you need a $100 threshold to be paid out. So you need to earn about $100 in AdSense. I think I keep pushing it to the right, so you can actually nominate the amount you want to do. So I think I'm about $300 before I get a payout. That's why I'm being paid out.
That's why you haven't. Yeah.
But Harry Tornado did mention in a video I watched years and years and years ago when he first started, is that when you start YouTube, you're working for free for 12 months. And that there's never been a truer statement I've ever come across. So if you are looking about doing, media madmen, I did bring up Carl in the video, is that, you need to build yourself, to do all these different things. And that was part of the reason why I did the video in the first place, is that I had a bit of a swipe at our beloved Carl about his intense staring in the video. And that's nothing against Carl. That's just something that you don't know what you're doing at the start of the video, right? Yes. That's something, he's probably done about 10 videos by now. So he will be slowly getting better, hopefully. It doesn't go down my path of 12 months later and you still don't know what's going on. But like I'm saying, is that...
And as you're building it, I think the thing, looking back on our experience and my experience in particular, is don't overdo it at the start. Don't think I'm going to release because if you listen to some of the other YouTubers, I'll tell you, release a video every day.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. I mean, look, you can do it, but take some of your long form content and turn that into shorts, because you cannot keep up the intensity. You can't release something every day for X amount of days so that you can get to X amount of subs. Yeah. It's too hard. You're going to wear yourself out and burn yourself out before you've even got a subscriber base.
Yeah, so we had issues, and I did mention this in the podcast, in the reaction videos, that both Leanne and I had problems with our subscriber account, right? Like we had people that watched us,
Getting
but not
subscribers.
getting subscribers. There's that we hit the 4,000 watch hours quite
Mm.
quickly, quite easily. Especially, I think Leanne was only a month behind me, so yeah, like we're quite comparable in the subscriber hours. But the actual subscribers, that's where we're lagging. So you know, you don't want to burn out your audience. Like that's something that Leanne was saying as well, as releasing a video every day. Is that it might be beneficial if you have the time, if you are doing it on a full-time basis. Maybe doing 2 videos a week or 3 videos a week if you can swing it, and maybe a couple of shorts and go from those different perspectives. But on reflection for shorts, I probably wouldn't do shorts in future because it's a different audience base, right? Like,
It is.
and I had a conversation with Mel back from Burnout probably a year ago now, is that subscribers are only a vanity number. You really what you get paid by is from your view count. So when you do shorts, when I was doing a short, I got 12,000 views on one of my shorts, which is not massive in the grand scheme of things, but quite massive for dropping your keys down the train. I got like 100.
Yeah, that was a ripper. That was so funny.
Yeah, I got 170 subscribers or something stupid like that, right?
Yeah.
But none of them are going to watch my long form content, and none of them are going to compare. Like add to my AdSense is what actually pays you out. So,
and that was how I got got to my 1,000 subscribers in the end. Was that I did do that. So what I did, I kind of cheated a little bit in the sense that I took some of the long form content from the live streams and put that into a special program that would actually create shorts for me. And then I was uploading those each day. And that was actually how I was actually getting those last, because, like I needed 50 something subscribers, I think at the time.
Yeah.
So I just went hell for leather doing that and that. But again, same thing. They watch those, but they're not going to generally watch my long form content.
They're not converting. But I think I am watching an up-and-coming YouTuber at the moment. I think he's going to be quite successful in the long term. The Geelong Flipper, I think he goes by. He was on TikTok. I had a bit of a subtle swipe at him because he's here, promoting a bolo game that sells for $5. Oh. So I think he might have misread the the cues on that one. But what it is, he's bringing his TikTok followership across. So he's got a fair few followers on TikTok. And that's something that I want to probably focus on in the future, because, like I was saying, we are building this new business together. With the YouTube community and all these different things. I want to kind of promote it on TikTok as well, because it's almost like free advertising, right? So once you get a bit of a following over there, you're almost printing money per se. So that's something if you are looking.
What are you trying to say? Does Grumpy Granny need to go over to TikTok?
Well, I think you do too. I think just it might be a case. But I think it's a case that like the Geelong Flicker, he's just goes through the op shop and goes, oh, here I picked up this this video game for $5. It's going to sell for $100, and the guy's got obscene amounts of views on it. So maybe we might start doing that and just trying to funnel people back to YouTube and all these different things, because realistically 1,000 people on TikTok that view your 20-second TikTok, whatever they call it, might convert to one long form viewer, but you're still getting those people coming across. So like I said, you need to build your audiences across the different platforms. I'm finding that Opus Clip that Granny and I were using doesn't really do that well on TikTok. TikTok's more of a younger base, which you probably have to grab their attention by somehow. They're quite thrifty as well. Obviously they don't have the money to spend. So if you are looking at doing op shop videos or saying, hey, these are jeans, instead of going to the Levi's and paying $100 for a pair of jeans, go to your Salvos and buy a $9 pair. These are the things you could probably do from a TikTok perspective to get your following and all those different things. And like I said, push them across to different business ventures and stuff along to that. So, but going back to what we were talking about at the start, before we went on that rabbit warren down there, is that you need to start thinking outside the box. And I know we've talked about this in different episodes, and we know we've spoken about it numerous times before, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but the fact of the matter is there's no use going onto Facebook Marketplace going, I did it again. Facebook groups saying, hey, eBay is screwing me over. I haven't got sales, or I haven't done this, and all these different things. When you haven't done anything to
energy into something else. Like I sit back and I look. I mean, when I started my YouTube, I never ever thought I'd get to the point where I'd be monetized. I mean, that's a dream for me. But the fact is that money is, to me, passive income, because I enjoy doing it. And, there is a lot of pressure if you're trying to do it every day. I stopped trying to do that pretty quick. Even when I was doing the daily nuggets, trying to spit 5 of those out a week was pretty hard, because you do run out of thinking new topics and stuff. But, so now I'll put out maybe 1, 2, 3, depends on what what's topical. No good me putting out something that's crap. I want to put out something that people want to see. but I enjoy doing it. But that is passive income. That money, people will just come along and watch that. They can watch it today. They can watch it in 12 months, 2 years, 3 years. It'll still be eventually paying me out some money over time. It's just extra income.
Well, that's exactly right. Well, the current rate that the reaction video that I did on the Aussie Flipper, geez, I'm losing my voice. If you haven't worked out, I did a reaction video for the last 2 hours. So I sound a bit aloof. I was going to say, if I sound a bit aloof, it's because of that. I procrastinated pushing it to the last minute. It didn't work out in my favour.
You'd think you'd learn by now, wouldn't you?
You think that so. But the passive income off that video I did with Matt was that it's probably punching out $3 or $4 a day, right? Like, it's not stupid amounts of money, but if I've got 10 or 15 videos like that, which are, I suppose topical for all intents and purposes. Like I said, it showed you a little bit earlier. I type in Aussie Flipper onto YouTube and, I'm the third or fourth thing. And because I'm a gigantic orange octopus, that gets people's attention. They're like, what the hell's going on here? Like, what's this? What's this plush octopus picking a fight with Matt for?
And then I'm riding on the coattails because I did a reaction to his reaction video and made sure I've got. So my thumbnail is like Octo and Matt and me. So hey, ride the coattails and go with it.
Well, that's right. Well, that's exactly right. And what it comes down to, right? And I don't condone this, I suppose, or I don't endorse this. But if you want to be somewhat successful on YouTube, you probably need to follow the bitching session. Like, controversy brings in views. Like our podcast normally does about 300 or 400 views a week, or for the life of the video before it dies off. When we did our daily refinement one, where we just basically gave our honest thoughts on it, did about 4,000 views because people see it as controversial. This one because people see Maddie, Maddie's quite polarizing, right? So people either love him or hate him. There's no in between with Maddie. So and I'm pretty much scooping up both sides of the fence from there. Is that the people that don't like Maddie, they basically jumping on the bandwagon, not necessarily for the right reasons or why I made the video, but hey, if you want to come and pay me money, good. And also the ones that love Maddie thinking I'm having a go at him, and they're like, oh, okay, he's not having a go, just having a go at the situation, all these different things. So, like I'm saying, is that if you are looking to, I suppose, increase your YouTube channel or build it initially, I wouldn't suggest it long term, because you don't want to be falling into the basically the people who are just taking the piss and getting cranky at people, all those different things, because there is a bit of blowback from these things, right? You do burn bridges.
Comments even on my reaction to your reaction. You'd think the comments would have been like watered down by the time it gets to the my third reaction video, but some are, and I mean I guess it's one of those situations where, look, I hope Matt takes something positive out of if he will be game to watch ours, but, if he does happen to see any of it, it would be good to think he might.
Well, if I'm going to be brutally honest, because no one watches it 51 minutes and 38 seconds, I'm not a big fan of Maddie. But I don't like I said in the videos, I don't hold any ill will towards any Australian YouTubers. No. People might think otherwise, but
I just don't watch him because I don't.
I just don't. That's right. I'm not in his demographic, because he's more aimed towards younger demographic, which is I'm not. Being an 88-year-old handsome octopus as such as myself, but but like I said, that if you don't like a particular YouTuber, just don't watch them. You don't have to, basically badmouth them, and that everyone was quite respectful in the comment section, I believe. That from my perspective is that I didn't see anyone say, "Hey, I didn't have to delete any comments." Put it that way. And if there was any derogatory comments, I don't have a problem with people having a go at the situation and saying, "Hey, he should have handled himself differently," or he's a bit of a dickhead when he comes into the shops, which is fine. But
because everyone's got their own opinion. I mean, I wasn't going to voice an opinion to the comments on mine because I don't watch Matty normally. Like, I watched his because of your reaction video on, but he's not a channel that I normally watch because he's just, I don't know, he's not my cup of tea because I'm old.
Yeah, that's right. And like I said, I don't have any ill will against anyone in the YouTube space, but that I think the reason and I said to Christian before, is that the reaction videos were based at people with about 400 or 500 subscribers, right? Just to give them that little bit of extra boost, just to get them out there in the algorithm. By no means am I big in the YouTube space, so I can't really promise them, thousands and thousands of subscribers. But when he released that video, I had 8 people reach out to me and say, "Hey, look, what do you think of this?" And yeah, if I'm going to be brutally honest, when I watched it, my jaw was on the ground. So that kind of, before people reached out to me to ask me to do it, like I was kind of like, "This is unacceptable, right?" Like, but like I said in the video, well, I think I said in the video, is I think there's other contributing factors to that behavior. Like for someone to, for incentive, purposes, lose their shit over $3. There's something. Yeah, there's other stresses.
There's more going on.
That's exactly right. So,
and that was part of the reason why we chose to talk about what we chose to talk about today, because we wanted to let everyone know that it's not just happening for him; it's happening for all of us. And so, we need to, I guess, change our mindset a little bit and hopefully not take everything too personally when it comes to the fact that our sales are down or whatever. That everyone's going through a tough time at the moment. And look, it's the economy, it's world events, it's events in Australia, it's the fact that it's coming up to tax time, it's AFL footy started. People are on the weekends aren't watching, aren't buying online, buying stuff. They're out at the footy watching the game. There's so many things.
Well, that's right. They're spending their money on buying tickets to a game opposed to a luxury item for themselves. But the fact of the matter is that, like Leanne was saying, is that, and this is what I have problems with, like I won't say tech and sports, but let's face it, it's tech and sports, right? Where he basically says that, buy stuff, then it will sell. Constantly list and all these different things. And I think that it kind of, I agree with 99.9% of what tech says, right? But when it comes to the point where people are buying stuff, because he's saying you have to list 250 items a day, or that's what he did previously, and kind of the way you read between the lines, he's kind of pushing people towards that line where he kind of says that you need to constantly list, you need to do this, you need all that activity in eBay. People are becoming, because he talks about cash flow, which is fantastic, right? If you haven't checked out cash flow, there's a video he's done. It's called Techonomics, and he talks about cash flow, how to get your head around that. But the fact of the matter is, if you're not too versed, and this is not like. Tech's the delivery of the information, right? But what I think, what this is aimed at is people that are really new to the reselling space and they don't understand how business works, where they take him, like a lot of people talk about how fantastic he is and all these different things, and they naturally gravitate to him because I might say, hey, look, go watch Tech because he's fantastic. Then when he starts telling people like, start listing daily, start doing all this, go 9 hours for a drive, to pick up stock and all these different things, people fall into this trap. Then these are the ones that ultimately don't do very well on YouTube and end up folding because they're not getting the full picture. And like I said, I don't want to drag Tech through the mud because I think he's fantastic, but I think he needs to sell his message in a different particular way. That like he's basically, if you like, it's universal, but also that it's kind of aimed at the higher level, I suppose, because he's doing lots and lots of YouTube money, eBay money. So
and if you're selling 250 items a day on eBay, and maybe you're only making $2 or $3 a profit from those items, you can still be making money. But a lot of us can't list that amount, so we can't achieve those sales, or therefore we can't sell stuff that we're only going to make $2 or $3. That being said, I mean, if you make $2 or $3 off something that you've had sitting there for 2 years, take it.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Back to use to buy something else.
Well, and that's why I'm in the process of my jeans at the moment. My clothes, I'm flushing out in the sense I'm just doing the gradual markdown to the point where I'm still profitable, but I don't want them hanging around because I need that space for other things. But like going back to Tech is, like I was saying, is that for someone that's listing 250 items a day, he's in a different mindset to someone that starts from the like he was there at one point, right? But you need to be mindful of the fact is that you're probably not in the same league as him. So just be very mindful of what information you absorb. Take it for the whole picture, not just.
Can I say something about people?
You're going to anyway.
I am. So look, you're going to see a lot of YouTubers that are going to say, I listed, and Tech's one of them, 250 items a day. Even Mel from Back from Burnout, I've seen her list 200 items a day. Other people that have listed multiple hundreds, 80, 100, 150 items a day. Let me give you a hint. Yes, they are listing that much a day, but they're only doing the listing on the computer. That doesn't include their photos for their item or the prep for the item or the measurements. All that's already done for them, either by someone else or they've already done it themselves previously. So when they're talking about listing that, and you can feel quite defeated because you can't ever get to that level or get past listing 10 or 15 a day because it's too hard. Because we think of listing as prepping photos, measurements, then doing the computer work. But they're not. When they're talking about listing, they're only talking about listing.
Yeah, and that's right. Like, yeah, and that's where I come back to variation listings, right? That you can do 250 listings if it's a variation listing. You know, like you're basically just changing 0 to 1 because you've already got the product photo. Like, yeah, just do all those different things. But it is quite hard. So just start off small and don't just almost flip
when you
one
do your
item to
first
one
one,
item.
only do something with, choose to do 5 things in your first variation listing. Don't try and do 47 items like I did. Just saying.
Wait till you get to certain sites. Skylanders has got 88 different variations to do.
It's kind of like learning to do international shipping, I think. You need to follow the process through, even if you don't understand it. You need to follow the process through and do it once. And then all of a sudden, at some point, it go, oh, now I get it.
Right. Yeah. And if you don't have a very international shipping, and I'll close on this point, turn it on. You're doing yourself a disservice. Like, you know, there is a plethora of videos. You know, Grumpy Granny's done one herself, how to do international shipping. I don't care who you watch, just bloody watch someone to do it. But you are literally cutting off, you know, a lot of your market. And, you know, you can't sit in Facebook groups and whinge that nothing's going right for you when you don't have international shipping on and you've basically have no returns on and you have all these different things on. So be mindful of that. But having said that, I think I'm sick of everyone today, Granny. What about you? Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you again next week. But please be mindful to catch up. Oh, sorry, mindful. Jeez, this is what happens when you do like 3 hours.
Come over and watch my latest videos. That's what he's trying
to
say.
Yeah, I was going to say you do 3 hours.
I'm on Grumpy Granny's channel. Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see you next week. Bye.